Hello friends, myself Ravi and welcome to our channel Right Click Education. In today's video, we will learn how we can implement Angular Material Tree in our Angular application. So without getting any late, let's get started. Open your Chrome, type Angular Material, open the first link, that is material.angular.io, which is the official website of Angular Material. Click on components. In the left side nav, you can see all the Angular Material component, right? Click on tree. So basically, whenever you try to render any data set which is in the hierarchical form, so it's like parent and child and then its child. So whenever you try to show the hierarchical data, you can use Angular Material Tree to render it. Okay, now let me give you example. So if you see here, these are the two parent node, which is fruit and vegetable. So each element of a tree is called node. Okay, and this fruit and vegetable are two nodes, and if you click on this, okay, you can see its child, right? So the child of fruit is apple, banana and fruit loop. Okay, and the second node is vegetable. If you click on it, you will see the two children of it, which is green and orange, right? And if you click on green, again you will see its children, right, which is broccoli and Brussels sprouts. And if you click on orange, you can see pumpkins and carrots, right? So in this way, we can render the hierarchical data. Okay, so uh, let's try to implement it. So as usual, first of all, we will import the API that is needed for implementing Angular Material Tree. So copy this mat tree module, go to your Visual Studio Code, open your app.component.ts. I have already opened it. Paste it here, copy this mat tree module and paste it here in the ng module import section. Okay, so now we are done with the import part. Now let's go to our app.component.html and we will try writing HTML for it. Okay, so first of all, in order to implement the tree, we use mat tree tag. Okay, and inside this tag we have parent uh, parent nodes, and when you click on those nodes, the children nodes will be expanded, right? So we will write here, for the nodes we will write mat tree nodes. Okay, so here we will write the parent node. Okay, and all the children node we will write in the next mat tree node. So here we will write all the children's and here we will write all the parent nodes. Okay, and this is also called as flat tree, because if you see, uh, this mat tree node is independent of this mat tree node, but when we create nested tree, then we put this mat tree node inside this mat tree node. Okay, so that's how we do for nested, but we will implement here the flat tree. Okay, so uh, first we need to add the tree controls. Okay, so what is tree control? Tree control is basically used to deal with the expand of the tree. So if you want to render the children nodes, you need to expand the parent node, right? So that's why we use tree control. So let's add tree control here also. So tree control, right? And we will create one tree control and then we will add it here, right? So for now I have just written the property, and also you need to bind the data that you want to render in the tree. Okay, so for that you need to also bind the property data source. Okay, data source equals to, so we will create the data source also. Okay, so this is one thing. And then now let's go to our app.component.ts and try to create the tree control. Okay, go to your app.component.ts. First of all, we will import some of the modules that we needed for this application. So first import flat tree control, flat tree control. Okay, again import mat tree flat data source. Okay, mat tree flat data source, and also import mat tree flattener. Okay, mat tree, sorry, mat tree flattener. Okay, so now we have imported all the modules that we need. Okay, first of all we need to create two interfaces. Okay, so let us create those interface. The first interface will be for node. Okay, so since we are dealing with the food related data, so we will name it as interface food node. Okay, food node, and let's define two properties, that is name of type string. Okay, and children, this is of type food node only. Okay, food node. Okay, so we have defined the two properties here and we have defined the interface also. Now let's also create one more interface which will deal with the flat node with expendables and label information of the tree. Okay, so let's create that. Let's name it interface. Since I'm giving you example, so name it as example flat node. Okay, flat node. Now let's define three properties into it. One is expandable, which is of type boolean. It will say whether tree is expanding or not. Then name of that node. Okay, and also add level, so it will tell at what level the tree is. Okay, and this is of type number. Fine, so we have now created the interface. Now we will try to create the tree control. Okay, so let's create a tree control. So write tree control equals to new flat tree control of example flat node. Okay, and add node, which is node dot level, and also add node dot expandable. Okay, so now we have created the tree control, right? Now let's add this tree control to our HTML. So let's add it here. Okay, now we need to create the data source. Okay, so let's create data source. So in order to create this data source, we need one thing, that is tree control, and also we need tree flattener, that also we need to create. Okay, but before creating the tree flattener, we need a transform method which will basically transform the data when you are trying to expand or collapse the tree nodes. Okay, so first we will create that transform method. So go to your app.component.ts. Okay, so let's add the transform method here. Okay, so I have added this transformer method which take node and level as parameter. Okay, and it will return the expendables name and level. Okay, so we have created this one. Now let's create the tree flattener. Okay, so create it, tree flattener equals to, this is new mat tree flattener. Okay, here let's call this transformer method. Okay, and add node, which is node dot level, also add node node sorry node, which is node dot expandable, then again add node dot children. Okay, so we have created the tree flattener also. Okay, now we will create the data source. Okay, let's add data source. So data source equals to new mat tree flat data source, mat tree flat data source, and pass the tree control and tree flattener that we have created. Okay, this dot tree control, this dot tree flattener. Okay, so we have created data source also. Okay, now we will add the data set that we want to render. Okay, so hierarchical data. So let's add that data also. In order to save time, I have already created the data, so I will paste that data here. So if you see, this is the const tree data, and this is of type food node array. And we have this object which contains property name. Name has value fruit, and then the children of this node, which is again apple, banana, and fruit loops. Okay, then again we have another object. Here we have this name property whose value is vegetable, which is the parent node, and then its children, right? And this children has two nodes, which is one is green, another is orange. Okay, and also this children has their own children. Okay, so if you see, it has name green and it has children, which is broccoli and Brussels sprouts, right? So this is how the data looks like. We will try to render this data. Okay, so let's do that. Now let's add one constructor and inject this data source to it. Okay, so let's add this. So if you see, I've added this constructor. Okay, and I have also initialize the data source, which is of type tree data that we had created, right? Now we need to also define the children, right? So let's add the children also. So let's add this has child. It has two parameter node, and then this is used when you click on the parent node and you have all the child node gets expanded, right? So we have added this has child also. Okay, now let's go to our app.component.html and try to bind this data source. Okay, so let's go to our html and bind this data source to data source. Okay, so we have binded this to property here. Now let's add mat tree node def, tree node def equals to let node. So here we are trying to show the parent nodes. Okay, so it will loop through it, and also add some padding. For that we use mat tree node padding, mat tree node padding. Okay, now let's also add the nodes that we want to see, right? So if you click on the button, then it gets expanded. For that we need to add the button also. So let's add that button in form of the icon. So button mat icon button, let's make it disabled. Okay, and also we need to bind the name of node that we want to show as parent node. So let's add that also. So bind it node dot name. Okay, so we have done for the parent node. Okay, now let's do the same for the child node. Okay, so let's add mat tree node def Here we need to show the child nodes also, right? So we will say let let node, okay, when it has child, okay, and also add the mat tree node padding, okay. So let me create, copy this, put it here, okay. Now we want to show the children's, okay. For that also we need to create one button. If suppose it has more children's, the children has also its own children, so for that we need to have a button on which we can click and then expand the tree, right? So let's add a button, okay, and it will be also the mat icon button, mat icon button, okay, and it will provide the toggling facility also. So add mat tree toggle means you want to hide, you want to expand and unexpand the nodes, okay. So mat tree node toggle, add it, node toggle, added it. Also add bind the property tribute dot area label, okay, equals to toggle 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 plus node name, okay, node dot name, okay. So we have binded this to the button also, okay. Now we want to render the expandables also on a button click, right, the icon click. So let's add that also. For that, enter this and put the icon here, okay. So I have added this mat icon which will show you the expanded node, okay. So if tree each expanded node is true, then expand more, and if it is false, then save run write, okay. So this is also done. Now let's bind the name of node. Similarly we had done in the parent node also, so we will do it here, node dot name, okay. Now let's compile the code and see how it looks on UI. So if you see, we have this two parent node, but I think we have done something wrong here. Let's go to inspect, go to console. If you see, it's saying can't bind mat tree node def. Oh, okay, so we have misspelled mat tree node def. So let's do this. Let's again go to our UI, okay, close this. Now you can see, right, we have these two parent nodes, fruit and vegetable. Let's click on this fruit. You can see the child as apple, banana, fruit loops, right? And if you click on these vegetables, you can see this green, orange nodes as children, and then click on it, the grandchildren, that is broccoli and Brussels sprouts. You can see now, if you click on orange, you can see pumpkin and carrots, right? So in this way you can implement the angular material tree in your Angular application. That's it for this video. If you haven't subscribed our channel, please do subscribe our channel to get more updates. And if you have any questions, you can comment below. I will try to answer your questions. Thanks and have a nice day.